Cleveland Indians baseball right here on 105.7. The Zone is powered by USA Insulation online at usainsulation.net. And Buyers Auto Group, 15 brands, 8 convenient locations, and 3,000 vehicles in stock. Matt McCoy, Stan Jackson, producer Campy with you on this Thursday afternoon. And speaking of Tribe baseball, we're happy to be joined by the play-by-play voice of the Indians, Tom Hamilton. And Tom, do you have any innings in your right arm? Can Tito go to you in the 7th and 8th innings to try to get over this little speed bump that we are seeing with the Tribe bullpen?
No, things aren't that bad, thankfully. So, no, it's just, it's part of a long baseball season. That's why you never assume from year to year that things will be what they were the year before, be it good or bad. And I think probably the most unpredictable part of any baseball team from a year-to-year standpoint is the bullpen. It is hard to keep dominant bullpens together, and it's also hard to expect those guys year in and year out to be that good. That's why you see so many teams that have bullpen issues or make changes yearly to their bullpen, because there are not many Mariano Rivera's around that could go 15, 16 years and never seem to have a slip up. And the Indians are living that end of it right now.
Stan and I were just talking off the air. It's like, can you make adjustments when you're having bullpen issues, or do guys just have to start pitching better? I mean, it's not like Terry Francona's making these managerial mistakes. Guys just got to start getting people out, don't they?
Yeah, that's certainly part of it, because you can't go and replace 7 guys in your bullpen. There are guys, and Tito says it all the time, you can't run away from guys that have done it in the past. Now, it's different when you've got guys, and the Indians do right now. It seems like we have a guy coming up from Columbus every other day, trying to solidify that bullpen. And those guys, for the most part, don't have, long track records. So you've got to get guys that have done it here for the Indians going again, and you've got to be able to show some confidence. I think the biggest thing, guys, is that this is a byproduct of Brian Shaw and Joe Smith signing elsewhere as free agents, and now you've got people in roles they've not been in before. Yeah, you still have Cody Allen and Andrew Miller at the back end, and obviously when Andrew Miller went out for a couple of weeks with the hamstring issue, that had a great impact, and it still is, because he's still trying to get sharp while pitching in big league games. But now you've got that void that really hasn't been filled since Brian Shaw left this club. And so there are guys that are really good in the 5th and 6th innings. Now, can they do it in the 7th and 8th innings? And so far that hasn't worked out. So I think trades are always a possibility. And, but you also have to look from within. And, Neil Ramirez, for instance, came up the other day from Columbus, pitched really well. But can he do that consistently? I think we're going to find out one way or the other.
The good news, too, Tom, is it's good and bad. For baseball fans and for the American League Central, you look at the division, you go, yeesh. But at the same time, the Indians struggling for them, 21-21, but here they are in first place at this stage. So it's not like it's panic button time, but it certainly is something that the organization, I would think, has to be looking at.
Yeah, they are. And you're right. It's not a time to panic. And, a year ago in almost the end of July, the Indians were 48-45 and had a half-game lead. And it just seemed like they'd been treading water for, almost 100 games, and then just took off and finished 54-15. But you can't count on that. You can't, just because you've done it before, again, it doesn't mean you can do it again. And the way you get on a roll like the Indians have been in each of the last 2 years, when they've had those long winning streaks and have gone 2-3 months where they've been dominant, it's pitching. You don't have a 2-month stretch where you just outslug people. It's too hard to do that. The Indians have the starting pitching to put a run together, but they've got to get that back end of the bullpen fixed, and until they do, then you're going to have some shaky moments late in games.
Visiting with Tom Hamilton, play-by-play voice of the Cleveland Indians. Again, weekend series coming up against the Astros down in Houston. On a positive side, offensively, things have been going pretty well. And I got to ask you about Michael Brantley. I heard you mention, actually, the other day And I'll raise my hand as one of those people, wasn't necessarily ready to bail on Michael Brantley, but concerned about his health just because of the last couple of years. And you're like, there were a lot of people that were ready to bail on him, and boy, has he delivered. That stroke, when he is in a groove like he is right now, is one of the sweetest in baseball. And he obviously has been somebody that the Indians are very happy with what they're seeing right now.
Yeah, he's just simply one of the best players in the game, and he's really one of the really big-time people in your clubhouse. I mean, Michael does it in a quiet way. He's not a rah-rah guy, but he's a big-time leader in that clubhouse, and he's been like a big brother to Frankie Lindor. Now, Michael Brantley will never tell you that because he just, he doesn't believe in self-promotion, and, he comes from a baseball family, and he knows there's one way to do it. He does it quietly. And, people in Cleveland, for whatever reason, seem to be, we had so many fans complaining in the winter when they picked up the option on Michael Brantley. And it's like, my goodness, folks, he's had two major injuries. One came from a great play on a diving catch that tore the labrum in his non-throwing shoulder. And, that comes from playing hard. And the other one was a fluke ankle injury a year ago. Otherwise, Michael Brantley's been healthy. He's not one of these guys that every time you look up is on the DL with a hamstring or a groin or, a hangnail. I mean, this guy goes out and plays. If he's hurt, it's been a serious injury. And I just think, people have forgotten, maybe fans in Cleveland, how good this guy has been. And I think a lot of it is because of the way Michael plays the game. He just goes about it in such a quiet way. Frankie Lindor's got a different personality than Michael, and that's good. You don't need 25 guys with the same personality. You love the emotion that a Frankie Lindor brings to the game and how much fun he looks like he's having playing it. But you also love the stabilizing composure that a Michael Brantley brings to a clubhouse and to the game. You don't see highs and lows with Michael Brantley, and he's just simply one of the best players in the game. And gosh, you look up, he missed the first week of the season, and he's got almost 30 RBIs. And again, he's really big, guys, in that clubhouse, but isn't self-promoting, and so a lot of people don't realize the intangibles are really important with what Michael brings to the table.
Is Frankie Lindor, with or without hair, as fun to be around as it looks like?
Yeah, he's just I hope he never changes. And he's just a guy every time you see him in the clubhouse. He's got time to say hi and talk to you. He's always got a smile on his face. He's one of those people that he realizes that, the good Lord blessed him with a lot of talent, but he also realizes he's playing a game. And I think sometimes, and I know sports is tough, and I know there's a lot of pressure involved, and, it weighs on guys mentally, more so probably than physically. But sometimes I think people got to step back and, take a deep breath and realize how fortunate they are to be doing what they're doing for a living. And Frankie is one of those that realizes that. He gives back to the game, plays the game hard. He makes mistakes. He admits it. But I tell you what, he's really one of the faces of the game of Major League Baseball right now. And those are the kind of people that you want to be the face of your professional sport.
Well, Tom, we're looking forward to this weekend, this series with Houston, and hopefully it'll go well for the Tribe. We appreciate you taking a few minutes for us.
Well, my pleasure, guys. Thanks so much.